I believe there are two staples in Italian recipes that everyone needs to make, and they need to make it well. It is a meat sauce, or a bolognese sauce, as they say in Italy, and a marinara sauce. When you learn to make those two recipes, and it's simple and it's easy, you can make most dishes in Italian. Okay, we're going to put the olive oil, and I always use olive oil. As it gets warm, what you'll do, we're making the meat sauce first, by the way. So what you'll do is take a medium onion, and we'll put it in to the oil. Okay, we'll stir it around and let it saute. The next ingredient you'll use is garlic, but the way I have been taught is you have to always let the onions cook first, because they take longer to cook than the garlic. There's nothing worse than brown, bitter garlic. So we'll let this saute for maybe 2 minutes. Let's stir this around a little. It's doing great. I learned these recipes from my mother-in-law. She used to come and visit after I married my husband 42 years ago. And I wanted to speak to her, but she spoke no English, I spoke no Italian. So what we did was we bonded over cooking in the kitchen. She's a great cook, and I just figured if I was going to cook the way my husband was going to like it, it had to be original and authentic. So most of my recipes come from her. So we're still letting this saute a little bit. And a small disclaimer, my name is not Carmella, but I have been known as Carmella to my husband since we got married. He gives everybody a nickname. My name is actually Donna, and in Italian it means woman, donna. I'll take that too. Anyway, here we go. The onions are getting there. I think we're about halfway done with the sauteing of the onions. Normally, I would use a medium onion chopped and about 5 cloves of garlic. This is a little more than I need, so I'm going to put about half of this in here. And we'll let this start sauteing also. Here we go. There is nothing better than the smell of garlic. Basil and garlic. Without that, there's no Italian cooking, believe me. Okay, here we go. I'll let that sit for a second, and we'll move on. The next ingredient we're going to do, that we're going to add, is ground beef. Personally, a little fattier ground beef is better. That's what I prefer to use. The sauce always tastes more fragrant, I would say. Here we go. Okay. You can tell that your onions and your garlic are ready when you saute them, and they start to become soft, and they're a little blonder than they were. So here we go. Okay, I've got to do this perfectly, so I'm going to wait another minute. Bear with me. In the meantime, I'll tell you about my tomatoes. When we get to the tomatoes, I use a whole Italian pear tomato. Your sauce is never going to be what it should unless you are using a good tomato. This is what you need. Above all else is the pear tomato. What I'm going to do with it, since they're whole tomatoes, is I'm going to use this little apparatus right here, and it's called a food mill. However, in Italian we call it a passatutto, which means pass all. In this apparatus, it's going to take all the extra skin and the seeds. Most of them will stay in the bottom of the food mill. Okay, I'll show you how to use that here in a second. I think we're just about ready. The onions and the garlic, they smell delicious. My goodness, it's wonderful. Okay, all right. I have about 1 pound of ground beef. Like I said, I would use 1 medium onion chopped, 4, 5, 6 cloves of garlic chopped, 3/4 cup of olive oil, Let's go ahead and get this in here. All right. This is going to take a minute to cook. I like to let it brown, but I'll let it rest. I won't keep stirring for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to use the passatutto. For this recipe, normally you would not find this size of a can in a grocery store. So you can use approximately 3 28-ounce cans of whole pear tomatoes. We're going to pour this in here, and it's a little messy, but it's okay. So what we do is we stir and stir and stir and go backwards and go forwards, and it's like I said, you have to use a good pear tomato. The ones I'm using are San Marzanos. They are the best you can find. Don't scrimp on your tomatoes no matter what you do, because if you scrimp on tomatoes, your sauce is not going to be good. I'm just telling you right now. And most of the time, you can find a good, decent pear tomato. And Italian pear tomatoes are actually better. So, okay. Well, as my my ground beef is finishing up there, I'm going to finish with the tomatoes. Okay. And always make sure that underneath you always have a good amount of tomatoes still there you can use on the bottom. So, finished here. We'll put the tomatoes into our ground beef. All right. Only thing we have left to do here is to add a little salt. Okay, again, my mother-in-law never used measurements, and so I don't either. All I can say is she would take the cup of her hand and she would put it in, and for an average size pot of sauce like this, that's how much she used. I'm assuming it's 3-4 tablespoons at most. Then we're going to do a pinch of pepper. That's probably half a teaspoon. Okay, that's in here. You're going to cook it on medium-high until it comes to a boil. The best ingredient, or one of the best ingredients that you can have in a bolognese sauce or any Italian sauce, is fresh basil. So I get 3, 4, 5 sprigs of basil put in there, and I'm going to add that. Don't ever waste basil. If you buy fresh basil and you're going to leave it in the fridge for a week, it's going to go bad. So if you buy fresh basil, when you're done, put it in the freezer. It is going to last forever. And I am telling you, it is as aromatic when it comes out of the freezer as it is when you buy it.